In 2004, I was actually about to sign with another label in Los Angeles. And 3 days before I went to Los Angeles, I had my first brain aneurysm. I didn't even know what a brain aneurysm was. My mom, I was at her house, and fortunately she was able to get a hospital to take me in. And they did a surgery where they went through my groin area and did something up here that is still debatable to this day. Fast forward to 2007, I had almost finished my album, and I teamed up with another record label in Atlanta, Georgia. And so I went to my home, which is in New Orleans, Louisiana, and I went there to celebrate. And I ate some food at a friend's house, and I started vomiting. And I just didn't know why I was vomiting, but my symptoms from the first brain aneurysm was also vomiting. But I'm like, there's no way I'm having another brain aneurysm. So, long story short, I was in the bathroom vomiting, and what I was told is I passed out in the bathroom. When I woke up, I was in Tulane Medical Hospital. My hair was shaved, and they were waiting on my mother to come from Atlanta to give them permission to operate on me. When she came, they told her that it was a 50-50 chance if I was gonna live or die. When I finally came to, after they did surgery, while they were in my brain doing surgery, I had a stroke on the table. So they immediately came out and stitched my head up. When I came to, my head was shaved. I had tubes up my nose and tubes in my mouth. I couldn't speak, I couldn't walk, and I couldn't add 2 + 2. The doctors suggested to my mom that she put me in a nursing home because it was likely that I would never speak or walk again. But here I stand. I went through intensive therapy, and a lot of stuff didn't come back. And I went through a depression because, as you can see, I used to fit what was the idea of commercial beauty. So I would have the long hair, the high heel shoes. I was the standard commercial beauty. And I was shell-shocked because I had to realize, what is my next move? You know, everything was taken away from me. I was mad, I was angry. And so my nurse came in my room because I was crying, and she said, "What are you crying for?" And I said, "Well, why does this keep happening to me? I just had write-up, I was about to do my album, and why is this happening?" And my nurse said something that sticks with me till this day. She said, "What you really need to question is how come you had 2 brain aneurysms and a stroke, and you're still alive." It was a journey for me to come out of therapy and back into the real world. I would send my mother or my son into the stores. I didn't want to be seen by the public. I didn't want to wear my hair because they cut it all off and told me don't put chemicals in my hair. So I had to wear my natural hair, and at that time I had a problem with it. My mom was my biggest support. My family was there, and my son and my mom was like my biggest support through this whole ordeal. And so while I was in the hospital, she would read me a poem that she would read to me when I was a little girl. And it's a strong poem. I'm going to read it at the end. But I want to share something with you guys. Me and my mother was walking on a trail recently. And there was a lady that walked by us. Now, we've seen this lady on the trail before. And, but she walked by and she turned around and she just stared at me. Now, I'm used to it. I walk with the limp. I'm partially paralyzed. I understand that now. So I asked my mom, I said, does it bother you does it bother you when people stare at me? And she said, yes, it does, but she does understand. And the truth is, it has bothered me too. But through this situation of being partially paralyzed, I had to learn to love myself beyond what I thought commercial beauty was. See, I just loved what I looked like, and not to say I didn't love myself, but it wasn't in depth, because I had to fall in love with me in order to move forward. So I'm going to end tonight with the poem. It's very short, but very strong. And it's the poem that my mother brought to the hospital, and she would also read it to me as a little girl and even while I was in the hospital. And I hope you can take whatever is needed from this poem and add it to your own life. And it's called Invictus by William Henley. Out of the night that covers me, black is the pit from pole to pole. I thank whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul. In the fell clutch of circumstance, I have not winced nor cried aloud. Under the bludgeonings of chance, my head is bloody, but still unbowed. Beyond this place of wrath and tears, looms but the horror of the shade, and yet the menace of the years finds and shall find me unafraid. It matters not how straight the gate, how charged with punishments the scroll. I am the master of my fate and the captain of my soul. Amen. Yes.
To the grave, walking on this paved road alone, I feel the change so